The world's highest grossing law firm generated 6.2 billion in revenue last year, and that's just from 4,500 lawyers. Do the math, that's roughly $1.3 million per lawyer each and every year. So how exactly do these legal giants generate billions, and how do equity partners take home seven-figure compensation packages ranging from $3 million to $10 million plus? Hi, welcome back. I started my career in the trenches doing high-stakes M&A, including working on historic mega deals like the AOL-Time Warner merger, before taking that expertise over as a senior legal official at a major financial regulator. After spending over 2 decades inside the regulatory apparatus, I've seen both sides of the coin, the massive machinery of corporate legal giants and the independent advisory model. So today we're going to break down what big law firms do to earn those massive revenues and why legal fees are through the roof, the secret sauce that makes partners' profits so lucrative, and why breaking away from the traditional big law model like I did is probably the smartest move you can make. So let's talk about the type of work they do. Big law firms make so much money because of the type of work they do. Their core function is helping clients achieve high-stake outcomes in complex litigations. And for you, tens of millions of dollars might sound like a lot, but on these giant deals, it's just a rounding error. And if they get what they want, with the help of the lawyers, they don't mind paying. So major transactions in M&A, right? Guiding corporate behemoths through multi-billion-dollar mergers and acquisitions and structural integrations. When I worked on the AOL-Time Warner merger, there were about 20 different law firms working on it. We handled the cable part, and just our part had 700 something boxes worth of documents, all being reviewed by lawyers building hundreds of dollars an hour. And they didn't mind paying because when you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars at stake, as I said, that's just a rounding error. So another reason is complex regulatory enforcement and litigation. So navigating the treacherous waters of where federal compliance intersects with private enterprise and the punishments for doing something wrong from a regulator dealing in finance or something like that is huge. So they're more than willing to pay to avoid those kind of headaches. So what are those clients like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan actually paying for? They're paying for clear, actionable advice. They don't want to sift through complex regulatory webs so business leaders can make informed moves. They just want to do what they want to do without stepping on a landmine. And that's where the lawyers fit in, to take the hit, to let them know where to go safely and profitably, right? High stakes negotiations, that's another thing. Protecting millions of dollars in contractual points where a single clause can make or break a deal. For a client, this might be the first time they're negotiating something like this. But for the lawyers, this is all they do day in and day out. So they're ringers at this. Meticulous drafting. So contracts are law, right? They're agreements. And contracts and filings are fine when things are going well, but when things go wrong, people go through that with a fine-tooth comb to try to find a way out, word for word. So careful drafting by knowledgeable lawyers, that's indispensable. And then unflinching availability. When you get paid this much to work at a big law firm, it's not 9 to 5. If it's a multi-billion-dollar deal on the line, you deliver. A lot of the things I worked on, the closing was December 31st because they wanted to get it done for tax purposes. So you might spend Christmas and New Year's in a warehouse going through documents to get things in on time. And you're getting paid for that. So why exactly are clients willing to pay those astronomical amounts where there's people willing to work for less? Simple, scarcity. Unlike tech startups where you move fast and break things, in the legal and regulatory industry demands absolute precision from day one. The difference between the right word and almost the right word in a contract is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug, right? You can't iterate a botched regulatory filing or a flawed merger agreement. It has to go through when it has to go through. I was told when I started as an M&A attorney, your job is simple. 9 months from now, there's going to be 20 people in that closing room, all billing hundreds of dollars an hour, making sure this deal closes. Everyone has different responsibilities. If it doesn't close because of something that's your responsibility, you'll be fired and you'll never get a job in this town again. So it's a lot of pressure, but a lot of pay, right? So because of the grueling educational barriers, high-level credentials, and decades of required experience, there's very few elite attorneys who can navigate those waters safely. That scarcity allows them to command top dollars. They only take lawyers from the top law schools, and those lawyers have to graduate at the top of their class, and they work on the biggest deals. And because they're experienced at working on the biggest deals, they get other deals, and it sort of becomes this closed loop, right? What about the hourly pricing model? So firms bill out predominantly by the hour. They don't give flat rate for something specialized like a merger or something where you're going public like SpaceX. They bill by the hour. Top tier US firms, junior associates are $700 or $800 an hour, and partners can be billed out at $1,500 to $3,000 per hour. There's a lot of money coming in. So let's say a senior associate is billed out at $1,200 an hour, and he logs 2,000 billable hours a year, which is the minimum at a lot of these firms. That's 2.4 million generated from the firm. If you subtract their salary, let's say 400, 500,000, the rest of that is profit, right? So that's the real secret. It's leverage. Each partner has several associates working under them, billing at huge rates. And not only do they bill at a high rate, it all flows up like a pyramid. So just like a private equity uses bank debt to secure and scale returns, law firms use leverage, deploying a pyramid of junior associates underneath whose time is billed multiples of the earning power of a single partner, way beyond what they could ever bill on their own. So even if they're billing at $2,000 an hour, and that seems a lot, if they have senior associates billing at $1,200, if they have junior associates billing at $800 an hour, and they have 7 or 8 of those beneath them, that all funnels up. So you might be thinking, that's great. Where do I sign up? Well, first of all, you have to have good grades and get into one of the top law schools, right? So we like to say that those big firms recruit from the 15 top 10 law schools. Why are there 15 top 10 law schools? Because there's 15 of them that rotate in and out of the top 10, and they tend to recruit from those, right? And not only do you want to graduate from there, you want to graduate at the top if you want to have a job working at one of these firms. And making partner at a big law firm sounds attractive on paper with all that billable and all those millions, right? But the reality is it probably takes over a decade of grueling nonstop associate grinding, right? 2,000 hours billable sounds like $40, 40 hours a week minimum, but you're working way more than 40 hours to get 40 billable hours, right? Because a lot of what you're doing is not billable. A lot of it is written off because it took too long. Some of it is wasted. Some of it is client development stuff. And the stuff that you have to bill is 40 hours a week. And so, you might be doing 60 hours a week, 70 in the beginning to get that 40 hours. And that's just the minimum. If you want to get bonuses on top of that, you have to bill more than the minimum, 2,100, 2,200 hours. That's pretty par for the course. So it's a complete sacrifice of your personal life, your health, your autonomy. I remember when I was in a law firm and 9/11 happened, and my best friend's wife and his cousin died in the towers, but I couldn't go up for the memorial. I felt horrible about it, but I had just started this job and we had a big closing to work on, so I couldn't go. And that's something that you have to sacrifice if you want to make it there. And the reality is that, you will work crazy hours and you'll make great money. And the goal is to make partner where once you make partner, you'll probably work even more hours and make even more money. And so the joke is that you're signing up for a pie eating contest where first prize is more pie. And that's great for a lot of people. But what if you don't make it to partner? A lot of these firms have an up or out system. So what if you burn through 8 or 10 years of your life and then they told you didn't make partner? What do you do then? A lot of what partners look for or firms look for in a partner isn't you doing the actual work, but it's whether you can bring in clients, right? So if you spent the last 10 years with your nose to the grindstone making them rich, there's no guarantee that they'll make you a partner because you haven't done networking and things like that would bring in business. So it's like you practiced all your life with a violin, and then you get a chance to play at Carnegie Hall, and then they hand you a piano and say, if you want to play, you got to play the piano. They're two completely different skills, right? So, in my mind, if you want to build genuine wealth and true autonomy, the big law firm treadmill, it's kind of a trap. You're treating your life to make equity partners rich on a fractional salary while dealing with the endless corporate bureaucracy. So, when you combine a background of elite transactional work like massive M&A with decades of regulatory experience, I don't want to be a big cog in a big law glass tower. So, me operating independently allows me to command premium rates for specialized high level strategic counsel and keep 100% of the profit and choose clients that I want to work with and maintain control over my own time, right? That's why I chose this path. So I mentioned before about the example of the senior associate billing $1,200 an hour and doing the bare minimum 2,000 billable hours. They'll make 2.4 million for the firm, and he might take home 400 or 450,000 with bonus, right? Let's say I build less than that. Let's say I build $800 an hour, which is what a junior associate at a firm like Skadden or Milbank would bill. And I bill $800 an hour, and instead of the minimum 2,000 hours, I only bill 1,000 hours. And then the rest of the time, I play with my baby, who's 4 months old now. I would take home 800,000, which is twice what that associate would make for doing half the work, right? So it works out better for me to do my own thing and not work at a big law firm. And it works out better for the client also because they want the knowledge of that senior partner who bills at $2,500 an hour. But they have to do a lot of stuff through that junior associate that bills at $800 an hour, the senior associate who bills at $1,000 or $1,200 an hour. And it's ultimately getting to the desk of that senior partner. And they paid a lot for that. But I have 2 decades of experience in the financial markets. And prior to that, I worked on some of the biggest M&A deals in the world. And I feel like what I have to offer is comparable. And clients love it, and I love it too. It gives me more money, and it gives me more time to spend with my family. So that's why I chose what I did. But if you want to choose the big firm life, that's up to you. I will say that if you do decide to open up your own firm, a lot of what you're going to have to do is going to be marketing and networking and things like that. But luckily, over 2 decades of career, I have been a good person and nice to other people. So I do get referrals from other lawyers when they have a conflict and they can't handle a case, and they say, hey, can you handle this? Or if they're too busy, they will call me and say, can you work on this project at a fixed hourly rate? And I'll do that. And I'll do consulting as well. So it's the first year out of the gate for me. But I think by year 2 or 3, I should make as much as I was making in my prior life. And after that, probably more than I would make at a big law firm. And in the meantime, I'm not working all hours of the night and every weekend to try to get those billables up, right? So it's not for everyone starting your own firm, but I'm just showing you the value proposition for that versus working in a big law. I know everyone wants to work in a big law firm and make the big money. But you are working there and you are making big money, but most of that doesn't trickle down. Most of that stays at the top. And, you can take some risk and do it on your own. I think it might benefit you. So that's just my thoughts on that. But like and subscribe so you'll see future videos like this. And if you want to work with me on a professional or a consulting basis, just get in contact with me through the information on this website. Have a great day, everyone.